And we are joined now by Katie Petranis, who is the Deputy Commissioner of Natural Resources for the State Department of Environmental Conservation here in New York. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
The DEC teamed up with the Adirondack Club that owns the Adirondack Mountain Reserve to launch this pilot program this year. What is the DEC's assessment? How has this first year been?
I think this first year has been a huge success, actually. I think, it's the culmination of a lot of planning that went into this effort. I think we got to the place where we knew that we were ready to start this pilot after realizing that we had a growing safety concern. Something really needed to be done in the Route 73 corridor. We also had just completed the High Peaks Advisory Group report meetings. That was, as you know, a group of stakeholders who had sort of decided to help us look at the Adirondack and the High Peaks corridor specifically to help manage use in the forest preserve. And so one of their recommendations was that we consider a pilot in the High Peaks to look at visitor management. We really needed to do something to improve public safety in that corridor. I think, anybody who drove through the corridor during the peak hiking season would see the narrow lanes of traffic, the people parked illegally on the roadside, people opening their doors into traffic. It really was creating an unsafe set of circumstances. And we knew that we had an opportunity to provide for the level of parking that was needed to accommodate those visitors on the AMR property. So we knew that we had the ability to safely move that use to a location that wouldn't create a public hazard. And so I think that's what we did. People had to pre-plan for their trip, and that was an adjustment. That was something that took people time to get used to. I think, though, that comes with an opportunity. People have an opportunity now there to pre-plan, which also guarantees you a spot, which I know has been a challenge for some during peak hiking season. And I know, for myself personally, I have a 7-year-old. It's not that easy to sort of fly by the seat of your pants when you're hiking these days for me. And so having that level of a guaranteed spot in a parking lot allowed us, we made reservations this summer, and it gave us the chance to leave our house at 7 a.m. instead of 4 a.m. and know that we were going to have a spot and a way to hike and do it safely. And so I think it was a change, but it was also welcome for many. And we heard that throughout the season.
Now, the reservation system is wrapping up for the year at the end of this month, but you and the folks at the Ausable Club have already agreed to continue it for another 2 years?
We are, yeah. We've intended this as a pilot. We've intended it to sort of do what we thought we needed to do to address the public safety issues. We also looked at it as an opportunity to consider the natural resource implications of visitor use and to study that. And now that the first season has wrapped up, we have a lot of data that we've collected over the past season. We want to really look at that. We want to understand what was done that really worked for folks, what the impacts were to the trails. We want to look at all of that, the roadside parking, the safety, and better understand it so that we can move into the next season. When we started this program, we said that we wanted it to be adaptive. We made changes like, for example, we installed a gate. We heard from folks that they wanted to be able to have late exit from the property in case their hike ran longer than they thought, and they didn't want to have to call a ranger, figure out a way to get out, get trapped at night. There aren't that many folks that actually leave the site late in the evening, but we still wanted to accommodate that. So we figured out a way to install a gate that would allow for late exit. We also made changes to the reservation system itself, working with our AMR partner, that allowed for easier management of the system. We wanted to really let people know that if they weren't going to show up, they should cancel so they didn't take a spot for somebody else. So we did a lot to the website to help encourage that. So we made a lot of changes in the first year. I think we are open to continuing to being adaptive over these next 2 years to really see how we can grow the pilot, how we can continue to make this successful. If there are additional opportunities to improve the pilot, we want to do that.
Keene Supervisor Joe P. Wilson said he didn't think reserving parking spots like this would work anywhere else in the High Peaks. Is that your thought as well? Or is the DEC looking at trying this in other parts of the High Peaks?
We are not right now. For us, this really was a unique set of circumstances. It's a unique location. The challenge in regards to the visitor use isn't unique. You know, we've been seeing growing visitation throughout the high peaks, throughout New York State, throughout the country, throughout the world. You know, over the past few years, every other outdoor recreation news article you see will be about increased visitation. And it's an incredible opportunity. It means more people are getting outside. You know, there's a wonderful health and safety benefit there, health benefit. More people are learning about the outdoors. It's growing the next, generation of conservationists, but it's also incumbent on us to manage that use safely. And so I think here, like I said, there's, a very particular unique road corridor challenge that made the reservation system make sense in this location. We haven't thought about that as a tool anywhere else in the high peaks.
In addition to the parking permits, the town of Keene and Essex County have both been running shuttle buses this year. Have they been successful?
There were, I think, as was the case with shuttle programs nationally, challenges this year. There were still COVID-related challenges, distancing questions. I think there were things like that that we had to work around that added to the challenge of the shuttle system this year. I also think shuttle systems are the type of programs that grow over time because a lot of the shuttle usage is word of mouth. We did a lot collectively working with the town, the county, the state. We did a lot of marketing. We did a lot of notice. But I think that kind of awareness grows over time. So, and we saw that throughout the season. It started out slower. We had more use of the shuttles later in the season. But we need to learn from it. So now that we're ending the first season, we're going to take a critical look at what worked, what could be improved, and figure out what we're going to do next year.
Katie Petronis, Deputy Commissioner with the DEC, thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time.